A lot of people ask me, that, oh, you planned your career so well. Trust me, I did not plan my career at all.
If you go back and do you remember that any child that you transformed?
There was this little kid, he would be holding me and walking behind me. And he's now in college. Oh, it felt so good.
Yeah. What I understand from you that you put your instinct before anything else. Hi guys, we are back again with yet another Extra Marks Beyond Classroom, the only education podcast. And we have introduced to you some very, very interesting education leaders. Today we bring to you a very dynamic and passionate education leader, Neesha Bhakar. She is currently the CEO of Vishwa Samudra Holdings Education. So today what we are going to explore is that how Nisha views the education space, what have been her pedagogical experiments, and how she's implemented what she has learned over the last 25 years into her new model, and what is the role of technology actually in helping her transition her ideas on the execution level. Hi, Nisha. Welcome.
Thank you, Poonam.
Finally, you are here for a podcast, and I was looking forward to this conversation.
Me too.
And though we have had very long and interesting conversations, I thought that whatever I've discovered about you and about your work, we should take it out to the world. It's pretty inspiring and it's interesting also.
Thank you.
More than that, that whatever you have done, you wear it very lightly. And I think that has to be one lesson most of the educators today should take. That whatever we do, we should do it with passion and we should wear all our laurels lightly and move forward. Right? So, what I'm going to ask you is you've been a significant player in the education space for quite some time now. Can you take us through your journey so far? What key roles have you played and what milestones stand out for you?
Okay, I think after having worked in different boards, different schools, different setup, and now with this current school of mine, which is entirely different, oh, I so cherish this journey. And what stands out would be my experience at the whole school transformation that we did at the Heritage School, which I was leading. Not understanding the jargons which are very people are familiar with today, and they were so new, they were so alien. ऐसा वो ऊपर से जाता था, but jumping into it and making that happen, being into the classroom and even leading the school. Oh, I think that just changed me not only at the professional level, but I think at a personal level as well. So that I've just continued.
What I understand from you that you put your instinct before anything else.
Absolutely. Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, that, oh, you planned your career so well. Trust me, I did not plan my career at all. I've just gone with a gut feeling. I've just gone with the thought that, oh, this feels right.
Yeah.
Till date.
Yeah.
And I'm not disappointed at all.
And what is interesting is that most places you went in were startups.
Almost all of them.
Yeah. And then you built them into brands that were respected.
Thank you.
And then it's not from my conversations with you, but conversations with other people who have worked with you.
Now when I look back, I feel yes.
Yeah.
But then
So-
it just happened, we
Yeah,
just went with the flow.
no, instinct. End
Yeah.
of the day, I feel even NEP is not saying something new.
So
Any good teacher would want to teach like that.
Exactly.
And any good teacher want to teach every child,
So true.
If you go back and do you remember that any child that you transformed, that anything that actually transformed the child?
There's so many examples, to be very honest, Uh, there was this little kid, most of the teachers and everybody, the management also thought he was my son. He would be holding me and walking behind me. And while I was leading the school, that's how I got into the classroom, because he wanted to sit in my office and said, Nisha ma'am, please let me sit here. I won't bother you. KG kid. And I said, I will come and teach in your class. And generally, I stick to my words. So I started teaching KG class because I had promised him that I'm going to be there.
Okay.
And then I met his mom in one of the, the conferences, and we were trying to recognize each other. And then I said, "Oh, you're Maruk's mom." And she said, "Yes, yes, yes." And she did a video call.
Okay.
And he said, "Ma'am, you're as beautiful as ever." And he's now in college. Oh, it felt so good.
Yeah.
The only kid whose house I have been to, because I just couldn't say no. Because if you go to one child's house, you have to go to everybody's house.
Yeah.
But when the door opened in the evening when I was invited, it was all family, and the whole family knew who Nisha ma'am was. And that kid was sitting in my lap all through the evening.
No, children feel that kind of love for the teachers.
So true.
How do you think technology plays a role into actually making teacher hands-free to do the core job of teaching and reaching out to children? Because sometimes over a period of time, especially after COVID, when I'm talking to everybody, they want to clamor back to the old world, saying that, oh, too much of technology and too much of screen time. But there are almost 50% of users who say, thank God for that. I'm not doing repetitive work. I'm actually engaging with children, because there are distinctively two groups that are operating currently.
So, with my administrative role, what I've enjoyed more and what I'm still involved in is the classrooms.
Yeah.
So it's a curriculum that I'm involved in. I still go and teach in the classrooms, and it's always been the norm.
Yeah.
And of course, then comes the teacher training as well, especially in the school that where we are now.
Yeah.
And not only that school, I think everywhere you have a challenge of having the teacher that you want.
Yeah.
And then you're reinventing the wheel every time. And at places you have those resources or the people to help you, and places you don't.
You don't.
Like we are in a back and beyond place. You know, you don't have so many trainers out there. And how much can you as an individual do? Because you also get tired and you also get repetitive.
Yeah.
So with COVID, of course, at least we've learned that we need to balance the technology and the time without technology.
Yeah.
So I think that's a given.
Yeah.
Which all of us are now very comfortable with. You definitely can't do away with it, and you shouldn't, because in a place like Nellore, it's such a boon that you have certain things which are already ready there for a teacher to see and go and implement. That frees up so much of her time to do more of a reading.
Yeah.
Because we do a lot of reading
and self-development.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which are beyond the content as well. Because you have to nurture yourself as a human being also, because you're dealing with young children. It's not just English, math, science.
Yeah.
You're also responsible for nurturing them, what we were just talking about some time back. So all that comes when you are engaged in reading. Now there's so much that a teacher is already doing, and usme then you need to free up some time, and technology is so handy that I've also realized that you don't need to do everything by yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of thing is already done by experts. Implement it, and in the process help the teacher understand the logic of that particular lesson plan, or that pedagogy that's being followed. So I think it's a great boon, especially for people like us who are in
for that matter, Nisha, anybody. I think we are actually textbook bred generation who's trying to reach out to the natives, and without realizing, inadvertently, technology has permeated every aspect of a life and brought efficiency. You have to look at that.
Absolutely.
There is greater efficiency, there is better time management, and also it is measurable. You have to realize the reason people do not like technology is their effort is getting measured.
Yeah, it's tangible. You can tangibly say this is what is done and this not is done. Absolutely.
And then also we keep saying that every child is unique to us, but in those 40 minutes, how do you capture that uniqueness? Yeah. So the a lot of us are saying that NEP is saying that you have to prepare the child for AI. But what is your take on AI? What is AI in your understanding?
So, I learn a lot of AI from my son, who is a computer science guy and works in Seattle. So a lot of times I hear these conflicting opinions, especially in the space of education, about AI being bad and dangerous and all that. And I talk to him and I hear such a different perspective, to be very honest. And that's a younger generation. Generally. I could have a lot of my own biases because of which I'm trying to justify that it's bad. But the point is, nothing and everything is bad, There's plus and the minuses of everything. And the fact that you can't really take away children from it at all, because this is the generation which is getting into it, and not only that, we have to get into it. Another 10 years, 5 years.
We are there.
Exactly.
Nisha.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it, that the future is here. It is happening
And
right now.
Yeah, you can't close your eyes to it
standing
at
in a
all.
classroom of 40 children who know it is there, and you're saying, no, I don't see it.
Exactly.
And the only problem I have with this is interpretation of AI. Today, when anybody says, do you teach children AI? They're thinking of it in the way we said, do you have computer education in your school?
Yeah.
And imagine the books that we had for computer education was given to children who were playing on computer games, and that book said, do you know where is the enter button and where is the screen?
So for our school, we are now hunting for a teacher who is a computer science graduate or a master's, because a IT teacher cannot teach children what is expected, what they're supposed to learn. And we all are not really there. So we need an expert into the school, and definitely we're not shying away from it at all. And I think we're making a judgment too soon,
नहीं also
try तो करो.
हाँ, try तो करो, but मुझे लगता है कैसे try करो. एक होता है कि जब आप न्यू लैंग्वेज सीखते हो, वेन एवर यू लर्न अ न्यू लैंग्वेज, वेन यू आर यंगर यू गो फ्रॉम ABCD इन टू द लैंग्वेज, बट वेन यू आर ओल्डर you go into situations and sentences and land a language. Now you are meeting a child who's doing such complicated computer games, and you're taking him to the basics of what is AI, or AI se kya ho, like a definition of AI. We have to get out of the definition part of it.
I think you're insulting that generation.
Yes.
Completely.
For example, AI, let's look at it. What is AI? AI is sum total of human behavior, if you really see.
In many ways, yes.
In many, I'll give you a very easy example of AI. Is your shopping cart. You think and look for things, and you keep it in the cart and forget about it. AI will give you prompts after prompts. And suppose you're in a drawing room and you're discussing a vacation, immediately you will see on your Android TV all the suggestions, everything starts coming. Now, I'm wondering, if AI was in real spirit in education, wouldn't interventions happen in time?
Absolutely. And something which you would have just ignored or not even known.
So the system would have told that this particular concept the child does not understand. This is the intervention. So he's not going to wait for a week for the teacher to answer.
Right. Even we are a construction company as well. Our school is, part of that. And there's so much happening in construction bit in AI. So that means it's every part of the world of your life. AI is there. How do you not do it in schools? Which is a ground.
Which is
where you're nurturing children.
Where you're nurturing children, and they need timely intervention. We may be able to do away with the shopping cart, but the child's 12 years will be for lifetime.
And they will invariably do it whether we teach them or not. So best is you teach them and hold them.
So here is where I come in, that technology becomes very integral to our lives, because we would like to bring the teacher's wisdom into their lives. So if we do not answer the questions of children, or we don't get into conversations with them, then they will find the answers on their own. And what will they miss out is the teacher's wisdom that comes with knowledge. And the AI should capture the teacher's wisdom.
So true.
And that's what will prompt and come in.
Yeah.
You see? So, therefore, increasingly, I say that it is very critical for all educators in schools to adopt technology so that their unique regional knowledge is captured
Yes, yeah.
and given as intervention to children. You are one of the early adopters, and you always say, why not this and why not that? In your early years, when things were formulating, the idea of edtech was formulating, what were the little experiments you did which you said, why not? And how did that work? Do you remember anything from heritage days or your Hyderabad, other different institutions you worked
The
with?
first thing that we tried out when we did not even have computers in every class, there was a lab where the computers were there, and we created the groups, like what you have the WhatsApp groups now. So we created class groups.
How nice.
And I would be responding to all the class groups because I was part of all the 30 classes that were there. And every issue, whether it was transport or food or child or education, whatever it was one platform where I could respond.
Bond.
So you don't have to meet so many parents every now and then, which was obviously not possible. But it was such an enabler. It was so much easier that रात को आप 2 घंटे बैठो, सारे ग्रुप्स पे जाओ, सबका रिस्पॉन्ड डाल दो, या फिर जिसको, if it's transport, you push it on to the transport manager and say, please look into this.
So the decision making,
was so
timeliness,
quick. Yes.
Timeliness.
Plus, the parent always felt that, we are on the job.
Yeah.
And we're not missing out their queries. It just because some parents are not really vocal, some parents are not really so pushy. But you just get a chance to reach out to every parent.
Imagine translating that in the classroom.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was in this conference in Ranchi, or there this principal said, I asked him that how are you adopting technology. He said, interestingly, everybody says visual learner, auditory learner, kinesthetic learners, and how AI or the audiovisual content helps them. So he said, I've gone beyond that. I said, how? He said, in every class, I have, through diagnostic test, created groups based on their learning styles.
Yes.
The same chapter is taught, and in 4 to 5 kind of case studies are given to the children.
Right.
I thought it was such a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And he said that you've given this platform to us where we are supposed to assess, but it has a teaching platform on it, which we don't have to teach because the teacher is teaching in the classroom. I have used that for group study of these groups. How you use technology is your imagination end of it.
I know.
Then he said, I call the experts for them on that platform.
How lovely.
And he's teaching the same chapters, same curriculum.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
And imagine you did that 15 years ago when you did not have the tools.
And we didn't even know what, because there were so many parents. So it was like, how do you reach out to every parent? It's such an intensive work happening in school. You're so busy all through the day, and then you want to be available for parents because that's your job. You're supposed to be.
So the same idea. That's how I think the WhatsApp guy also thought this is what works. So.
Create the WhatsApp groups.
Innovation happens, from the users.
Yeah.
The use case. And I always give this example, and I find it very... when we were kids, we would be in bed and we wanted to change the channel. And we used to keep laughing with each other. I wish my arm was longer and we could switch. Yes. And that is when the remote came, right? The same way educators like you, when they experiment, is when innovators like us create.
The need gets created.
Yeah. So you've been a strong advocate of progressive education. And for our listeners, how would you define progressive education, and why do you believe it's critical in today's world?
Okay, first I think... again, the misconception that it's only the today's world where progressive education is important. I think it's always been important because humans have more or less had the same needs. Progressive को एक आधे word में तो नहीं define कर सकती मैं, but very, in a simple words, if I say, a space where, everybody gets a chance to play, make a mistake, come back, talk about it, discuss it, then relook at the same thing in a different way.
Yeah.
And keep doing that year on year, and then you see how good you become at it. So you'll allow that space to children, you allow that space for teachers, and also you question yourself all the time that why am I doing this? So even a small event that we would do, typically we'd say like our assemblies, if I say. Our assemblies are not the usual way the assemblies are in every school. So we would definitely do a prayer, we definitely do a national anthem because we believe in it. But in between jo hota hai, every teacher designs the assembly on their own way.
Okay.
An assembly could also be a treasure hunt. It's just a time given for that class and that teacher to come together and use their own ideas. And such beautiful stuff comes out in the assembly. It could be a role play, it could be a quiz, it could be a dance drama, it could just be a conversation. Everybody just sitting down together and talking about an issue that they feel so much about, and that becomes part of the assembly. So, allowing a space for people to bring their best out, not make judgments too early, too soon.
Yeah, yeah.
By nature, we all are judgmental, but keep telling yourself.
See, if you introspect yourself, obviously you create a culture of introspection and re-engineering yourself every day. So this skill of how do I approach knowledge or human situation and how do I tackle it is real skill development, if you really see.
Yes. So I think all of us, when we say now we are preparing children for this century, that century, sorry, but I don't think we are so great that we know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And now, especially in the last few years, we've seen how fast the world is changing. So we don't know what it's going to look like in another even few months. But what's going to stay with people is, how they interact with each other, how they are about themselves, how much they know their own strengths and their weaknesses, how do they collaborate with people, how humble they are.
Yeah. The
How keen
humility
they are to
comes,
learn.
I think humility comes with honesty. And then if you have open houses where you allow creativity of the teachers, I think you create a culture of that honesty.
So true.
And I think this is in the hands of a school leader, and I think you're doing a beautiful job out of it. And may you keep doing great work. I think beyond your school, India needs it. And I am a very, very strong believer that there are educators like you who are currently transforming India. And then we as EdTech innovators are the ones who are going to take your message far and wide so that this transition happens fastest. Thank you so much for your time and for you to be you. Okay? Always a pleasure, Nisha.
Thank you so much, Poonam. I think I've known you for so many years, and I reciprocate that about you as well. That salute to the way you work, the energy that you have, and the smile that you bring in. And trust me, I think a lot of us are successful or are more confident because we get support from people like you, to make things happen in the classroom. So thank you so much for having me.
Looking forward to collaborating, helping in whichever way you want, and for our lovely conversations that we keep having. Thank you so much. God bless.